This question is in response to footrespect@yahoo.com person. They write, I have a client who has had problems with their ankles and several surgeries over 6 months ago and is still in constant pain. Any tips? I myself, about 4 years ago, I severely sprained my ankle, and I didn't go to the doctor right away, of course, and it's still giving me problems every now and then. The one main thing that's helped me in the recent past is arches. So I got a prescription from a doctor to get arch support, and that's helped out a lot. And the only other thing that I do is I just take 2 Tylenol before I go to bed, because that's the only time that I still have a little pain, is my feet are just a little bit more fatigued and stuff at night. But during the day they seem fine, just because the arch supports help wonders. But I know if I'm just lounging around the house the whole day, it's actually more painful for me throughout the day, because I myself, I don't have any arch. But what you want to do for the client too is see if they have any kind of arch. So if they don't have any kind of arch, it would be very good benefit to start building up the arch as much as possible. So some people, what they'll do is they'll put a towel on a flat surface on the floor, and just keep having the client keep rolling the towel up with their toes. So you're going to try to build up some strength that way. Other times people will put marbles or anything on the floor that you can pick up with your toes, and then keep putting them in a jar or something to build up some strength that way. Because more than likely the problem is it's not a tied tibialis anterior at all, but it could be weakness in the tibialis anterior muscle. Also with ankle problems, you can even ask them if they wear some kind of a brace. Sometimes even just wearing a brace at night is beneficial, so you might not have to wear it during the day, but it depends on when it's more painful. And every now and then, if it gets really bad for myself, I have to tape it. So there's a special method of taping the ankle, and it actually helps out wonders. So you don't have as much range of motion then, of course. But again, it relieves some pain, so your joints in your ankle are less flexible, so it's a little bit more stable then. So especially again if you've sprained your ankles a lot in the past, because I'm not sure totally what kind of injuries this person has, because this is what I have so far. This is the only question that the person asked. But a little bit more research, I could probably find other options that people could use then. But the proneus, longus, brevis, and tertius, those three muscles on the lateral side of the leg, lower leg, it feels kind of like a rope, but sometimes those can mimic even chronic ankle sprains. So it will refer to the lateral malleolus, so the lateral ankle. So the outside part of the ankle, that's where it's going to typically refer. But again, the tibialis anterior, that's just lateral to the tibia bone, and it's the upper portion. There's two different trigger points up there, and those typically you can go to the arch area or the top of the foot, the ankle area. So that's where that can typically refer to. Then it all depends if the client has anything like plantar fasciitis. So if they have anything like plantar fasciitis, usually the bottom of the foot, the heel region, is really tender, and sometimes you have to stretch that out, and even like a snake bite in the arch region sometimes helps and relieve those kind of pains. Or even getting a golf ball and have the client roll back and forth on their foot. So just put the golf ball on the floor and have them roll it back and forth, but just make sure the client is sitting down. That's all I ask, because I just don't want the client to fall, of course. Or sometimes people use those old glass Coke bottles. That's another option. Another option you can use is heat and cold, so contrast method. So like 5 or 10 minutes of heat, like warm water, and then 5 or 10 minutes of like cold water. Or another option you can use is ice massage. So ice massage, what you do is you put water in a styrofoam cup, and for a couple days to make sure it's totally hardened. And then what you do is you start peeling it away, and then you start massaging the area like the ankle or the foot or those areas. But the idea with that is it kind of numbs the pain, and what we should do is ask the client anytime you don't feel any coldness at all, or it kind of defers the pain. You don't feel anything, sensations. Let the therapist know then. So that's when you want to stop giving the ice massage then. So just to be safe, because you don't want to go any farther than that, because you can actually cause frostbite if you go for really long periods of time. But what they say again with ice, it's better in their first 48 to 72 hours after a recent injury. But after that, then you can use a contrast method like heat and cold then. So both options. So heat is great for circulation, but definitely not in the first 48 to 72 hours, I say, because it can harden up the muscles and the fascia and everything else. So it can destroy those areas if you're using heat. So again, use cold as much as you can. And any other advice you guys can recommend to this person would be great. Different kind of things you've used. I know there's many manual tests. You can see what it's actually causing it, but it's better to get a diagnosis from a doctor, so then you can go about how you can actually treat that. So again, more likely you're not going to totally take away all the pain. You can definitely more likely alleviate some of it and make them feel more comfortable from the day-to-day basis and stuff. But again, don't diagnose and stuff, and leave your comments below. Thank you.